All right, we're going to talk about the Great War, World War I. And there it was. Where'd it go? So hopefully you guys talked about a little bit the causes, 5 causes of World War I. Alliances. Everybody was tied up in alliances. Everybody was friends with each other. So when something really small happened, because everybody was all aligned with everybody, it created this global war, total war, Great War. Alliances, propaganda, which is part of nationalism, huge arms buildup, imperialism, which we've talked about several times. Hopefully y'all understand the idea of colonization and imperialism. And then nationalism, pride in one's country. All of these things led to the Great War. Nationalism means countries that were in control of other colonies, wanting to keep control of other colonies, people who were under the control of colonies, wanting their own, or of a mother country, wanting their own government, their own country, their own self-rule. Okay? All of these things led up to World War I. I don't know why this keeps doing this. Otto von Bismarck was a German leader before World War I, helped unify Germany. He was watchful of France because the Franco-Prussian War, Germany kind of backed Prussia, so they thought that they would be out for revenge. They were allied with Austria-Hungary, later joined by Italy, but Italy will move away. Kaiser Wilhelm II comes after Otto von Bismarck. He becomes ruler in 1888, really power hungry. He didn't care about Russia. He wanted to sign he wanted to be alone. He wanted to be big. He lets the treaty with Russia expire. Russia signs a treaty with France. Wilhelm was a big proponent of the Navy, wanting to control the oceans, just like Alfred Mayer and earlier with ours. He built up that Navy, and we did that White Fleet tour, right? The Great White Fleet tour. So strong Navy. During World War I, the leader of England, the leader of Russia, and the leader of Germany are all cousins. They grew up together. Kind of interesting. Serbia was one of the smaller areas. It was in the Balkan Peninsula. They wanted to be independent. They wanted their own country, but they were part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. Austria was determined not to lose any land, right? To lose any part of their colony. They didn't want anyone to take it over. They didn't want a new Slavic nation. Franz Ferdinand, who was a distant heir to the throne, he maybe someday would become king of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. A lot of things had to happen. And his wife, Sophie, they went to Sarajevo in Bosnia. And the idea was to assure the people there, the leaders there, that Austria-Hungary has the same goals, the same ideas, the same vision as the people of Bosnia. So there's no need for you guys to be independent. There's no need for you guys to break away from us. We listen to you. We want to accommodate you. Whatever you guys need, we'll take care of. Just you can't break away. This area was called the powder keg of Europe during this time. Just know Balkans equal the powder keg of Europe. You should be taking notes. So Franz Ferdinand and his wife, they're in Bosnia. Somebody throws a bomb, okay, and it misses them. They escape unharmed. But several people were injured. So Franz and his wife, to show goodwill, go to the hospital where the people who were injured in the attack on them that they escaped were. They wanted to just go visit the people that got injured and say, hey, sorry that you got hurt, all of that, kind of part of their goodwill tour. But on the way to the hospital to visit those guys, they get shot. they get assassinated by a 19-year-old named Gavrilo Princip. And he's a Serbian nationalist. He wanted Serbia, he wanted this whole Balkan area to be one country. He was a member of a group called the Black Hand. The Black Hand was wanting to rid Bosnia, get rid of all Austrian control, influence, everything out of Bosnia that was Austrian. Okay, that's what the Black Hand wanted. They didn't want any kind of alliance with Austria-Hungary. So this gave Austria-Hungary, who sent Franz Ferdinand on this goodwill tour just to placate, just to accommodate the Serbians. Now they can punish him, right? Now they can drop the hammer on him. Now they can say, look, we tried to play nice and you killed our people. You killed our relatives, right? So they're going to drop the hammer. Germany agreed with them, so they were going to support Austria-Hungary. Now, Germans' offer here is kind of like, yeah, I know we're in alliance, so we have to have your back, but hopefully this doesn't turn into a thing. Austria sent Serbia an ultimatum, says you got to end all anti-Austrian activity. Any organization, any newspaper, whatever. You can't talk smack about Austria anymore, and you have to allow us to investigate the assassination. Serbia, in response, says, okay, to most of it, but on these couple little things over here, let's talk about it more. We're not going to agree to this yet. Germany was relieved, thinking, oh, good, Serbia's like acquiesced. They said that they're going to follow what Austria said, but Austria was still mad, and they said, nope, that's not enough. We declare war. We declare war. Russia mobilizes its troops to support Serbia. And here we go. The triple entente, the triple alliance, the Balkans, so we can just, it's just a circus. They're all too interconnected. So again, all of these alliances drew most of the countries into war. You basically had Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. Later, the Ottoman Empire, Bulgaria, against Russia, France, Britain, Japan, many others, later the U.S. The Schlieffen Plan was the idea on how they were going to, how Germany was going to win this war. Because they got to fight France to the west and Russia to the east. Okay, so their idea is to invade France quickly. We're going to take all of our resources and conquer France. Okay, there was just one small little problem. Belgium was in the way. Okay, they asked if they could go through Belgium. Belgium was like, no, man, we're neutral. We're neutral. You can't go through us. We're not against you and we're not fighting you, but you can't use us to get to France. So you'll have to go around. Great Britain, who's an ally of Belgium, says, yeah, we got your back on this too. You're doing the right thing. Germany said, screw it. We're going through anyway. We asked, you said, no, we're going to do it anyway. This causes Great Britain to declare war on Germany. Also, Italy pulls out of the Triple Alliance, the Central Powers, which was the Triple Alliance, and they switch teams. And they joined Great Britain and France and later the United States and Russia. So with the Germans have the perfect plan, except for France intercepts the plan of attack. France finds out about where exactly they're going to be. The Allies they counterattack the Germans as they're moving, but they're way north of Paris, and Germans didn't expect them. They grabbed any mode of transportation possible to get the French soldiers to the battlefield. Over 600 Parisian taxis were used. The Allies won, and the Schlieffen Plan failed, all because somehow France got word of what was Germany's plan. So basically, it turns into this huge stalemate where we have trench warfare. We're basically digging big trenches, both sides are, and you have all this land in the middle, and you're battling for feet, just for inches, trying to get a little bit more. You would live, both troops from both sides would live in these trenches. We also had mass advances of weapons. This was the first time we had machine guns. So whenever people would jump out of the trenches to try to conquer the other, to go get the other side, you had machine guns, and they were pretty effective at not allowing your person coming towards you to get to you. You had
still in that, but then you had extremely terrible things that got stuck in the trenches.
Right. You had poison gas. This is the first time we've used poison gas in a war. We had armored tanks. Armored tanks were pretty good at
Getting stuck,
but also they were somewhat resistant to machine guns, but not advanced artillery. The shells, the bullets they use now were bigger and stronger and faster and more accurate. And you also had submarines for the first time. This led to millions of lives lost because of the advances in weapons. Pictures of the actual trench warfare, what it was like. No man's land. So how's the United States get involved in this thing? Well, the Germans had all these submarines, and they had kind of a blockade. They kind of had England surrounded with all these submarines. And they told people, no boats can go to England. At first they said, okay, passenger ships can. But then England was putting weapons from the United States, weapons and supplies onto these passenger ships, and the Germans said they wouldn't bomb passenger ships, so they would get to the England docks and England would get resupplied. So Germany said, all right, no more. We're shooting everything. We're going to blow up any boat. The United States government says, hey, Americans, do not travel to England by boat. It's very dangerous. They sank the Lusitania, which was a passenger ship. Americans are up in arms. There's 128 Americans that are killed on that boat, and they say, how dare you, Germany? It was just a passenger cruise ship. There was nothing on it. There were a lot of weapons on it. But America's outraged, and they want to enter the war. The second big thing is the Zimmerman Note. What was the name? The Lusitania. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. The British intercept a note from the Germans to the ambassador in Mexico. And it says, if the United States enters the war and you, Mexico, attack and help defeat the United States, we're going to give you all the land back you lost to the United States in previous wars. California, Arizona, New Mexico, parts of Texas.
Texas was actually a country.
But it was part of Mexico first. We declared our independence from Mexico so that we could be our own country, but in reality so that we could eventually become a state in the United States. Like, you know, we did that. But we got that note. And we see that the Germans are already being very aggressive against the United States, so we finally declare war against Germany on April 2nd, 1917. The war had been going on for a couple of years already. Okay, that's important to remember. And it had been pretty much a stalemate. We were allegedly neutral, but we were helping support the Allies monetarily. Total war, devoting all the nation's resources to war. We voluntarily rationed goods, voluntarily placed limits on the use of certain products. Women were crucial during this time, even though they couldn't vote yet. But they went to work in the factories, they worked the farms, they kept all the troops supplied with basic needs. The war's winding down. We have the Paris Peace Conference. What's it going to look like after the war? Delegates from 32 nations meet. These are the four big ones. Wilson from the United States, Clemenceau from France, George from Great Britain, Orlando from Italy. What country is missing that we've been talking about?
Russia.
Germany. Germany loses, so they don't even get invited. Wilson says that's a bad idea. Wilson wants to pass a treaty that's fair to everybody. Let's be fair. Okay? He brings the idea of 14 points. And points 1 through 4 talk about ending secret treaties, because that's what got us into this mess. The seas can't be controlled. They have to be open to everybody. Trade has to be open to everybody, and everybody needs to reduce the sizes of your military. They're way too big. Plan 5.5 was we need to take a look at how we administer our colonies, everybody in the world. Okay. 6 through 13 were specific suggestions for border changes and creations of new nations that came out of this war. And finally, his big one was point 14. Point 14 was an international organization that would keep world peace. It's called the League of Nations. Wilson's vision was for in the future, when two countries get mad at each other, they can come to the League of Nations, where representatives from all around the world will let them talk it out. And the representatives will help decide which side is right, which side is wrong, and that way there'll be no more war. Okay? That way there'll be no more war. We'll finish this after lunch.